Striker Scorpion 82 is now sponsored by Warhammer Combat Cards, a card battle game featuring your favourite Citadel miniatures from the 40k universe. Free to download and play, link is in the video description below or on the channel homepage, and by using the unique link it helps support the channel. Thanks and enjoy the game. Right, welcome to another Battlefield Terrain tutorial. We are running a series to show you how to set up your own tables for your games of Warhammer 40,000. So in this video we'll show you from start to finish, sort of an urban type setup here. We'll show you from start to finish how to set up the table, all the accessories, buildings, terrain, battle mat and so on involved to get the terrain set up that you see just here. So do check out the videos already in this series. There's a good number now, nice variety. We've got desert, Adeptus Mechanicus type terrain. We're going to go for urban here, so city fight style terrain for this setup. But the idea is to show you step by step how it's done and hopefully inspire you to create battlefields for your own games of 40k. It is straightforward. All the videos are quite straightforward really, and the idea is to encourage you to get into terrain. It is very, very rewarding once you've got decent terrain setups. It's a great backdrop for your armies, and it is a very, very rewarding part of the hobby and a very important part of the hobby as well. It's great to have painted armies, but terrain as a backdrop for it is so, so important. And the idea of this series is to show you how straightforward it is to get some great results. So as per usual, as I will put links in the video description below, linking to previous videos, tutorials, and then the actual products and accessories used here in this table setup. So city fight here. The idea of this board, fighting across an imperial city, you can see a few sort of Warhammer 40,000 accessories dotted about the board. This war-torn zone, nice line of sight blocking terrain here created by these buildings, so it's nice and fair. There's plenty of space and places for units to hide and so on, which is important now for games of 9th edition. So the first step, as per usual, is the foundation. So been a big revolution with these battle mats. They just give you a nice surface to work on, nice layout, good colour scheme, and sort of the palette that you can use to then build up the rest of the terrain on top. So this battle mat is called Fallout Zone. It's from GameMat.eu. I'll put a link for it in the video description below. The size that we've gone for is 6x4, although GameMat.eu do a large variety now of battle mat sizes, including the appropriate sizes for strike force size games of 9th edition. We use the 6x4 size so we can spin them round for 6 foot wide games of Apocalypse and so on. They also do double-sided mats. You get this design and another design on the other side, just to get the most efficient use out of your battle mat. But 6x4 in size, plenty of options as far as sizes are concerned. Lots of colours going on with this, mostly grey for city fight, but also there's different tones, different shades of grey, damage, rust, road markings and so on, all on the mat. So highly detailed, this one of my favourite mats. The other great aspect about it is the road network. It gives you sort of areas to place your terrain and really gives you a nice sort of city feel to it. Includes details like this, these vents and so on, across here as well, and then different colours going on. So you've got a crossway sort of tile effect here, across the other side black and white tiles. It's nice areas of interest across over there. You can see those patches, industrial spillages and so on. So that's your foundation. And usually for games you don't have to, but we try and stick to the road, try and make it look as realistic as possible. So Fallout Zone for the mat, that's the starting point. And as per usual with terrain, you're going to try and get your terrain, whatever else you add on top, to match in with the mat. You want the whole board to look like it belongs together and make it as realistic as possible. So that's your foundation. The other great thing about the mats is figure friendly, so nice and soft with the rubber material, so figures fall over and so on, they shouldn't get damaged. It's not going to chip paint off of them if you're running resin models or metal and so on. And then the other thing is nice and quiet when you're rolling the dice during a game. You don't get the clattering sound. It's nice and soft for dice rolling. Rolls out nice and flat as well. Just roll it up to store it. And I believe all the mats come with carry bags as well, so you're able to store them and carry them safely. So next stage after that is the terrain, just to lift this thing up and to create some nice terrain features. There's two main elements to this. There's a terrain set from GameMat.eu being used, so it's Chem-Zone Terrain. It's the largest set. We haven't used all the accessories from it here in this video. We've used these yellow containers from that, and this is one set that's being used. These containers across here, there's a couple of yellow ones there. These boxes, barrels, all from that set. These vats, you get one large one and two small ones. I've stacked them to make a very tall one. One of them comes with this. Those two are from that set as well. Also included is a load of pipes, junctions and joins and long pieces as well. All comes as part of that Chem-Zone Terrain set. So it comes in this colour scheme, although it comes brighter. We've made an adjustment to it, so that's the kind of colour scheme that it comes in, with some weathering to it and the metallics painted and so on. To tone that down, again, just to bring it in line with what you're seeing around here and the other terrain pieces that we have, just a very, very straightforward process to get that just to tone, knock the colour down a little bit. So it's just a walk through, it's very easily done. So you're trying to take this colour here, and you can see perhaps around the edge what we've done. We've just mixed up like a wash, like a Agrax Surf Shade type wash here to add on top. The first thing you need to do though, to make sure that wash goes on okay, is to give the whole thing a spray of Munitorum Varnish, and that will just key the whole thing in and enable you to put washes over the top. And then once that spray is on, it means you can put washes over the top, and they should go on okay. So once that's dry, you can then use your Agrax Surf Shade or something equivalent to that, and you're just going to stipple that on. Just to muddy and tone that down. Once that's entirely dry, we then take like a dusty colour. I used something equivalent to a Ushabti Bone, like a bone kind of colour, and then like a stippled dry brush, again just to dust it up and just to tone those colours down as well. It's very easy to do, just take a larger brush and just stipple that on. Then after, if you want to, you can add in a little bit of metallic to it, just to chip off the edges and so on, and you can just dab that on onto the edges to get a metallic chipping effect. That was done on these, all of these. So perhaps I'll zoom in. So it comes like that. Then that's your Agrax sprayed varnish, Agrax Surf Shade, stippled, dappled on, as many layers as you want, and then the Ushabti Bone dry brush. Just trying to tone the yellow down, and then a little bit of chipping with metallic colour. Iron Breaker would do the job. So you're still seeing the yellow, but you just tone it down just to make it weathered and realistic, and to take the starkness of that yellow and just to make it a bit more realistic. See the way that sits on the board, a bit too bright. Tone it down, matches it nicely. So that's those on a smaller scale, but it's the same process across here. Had fun with this. Just green, painted green. Then lighter shades of green, and then some varnish on top just to finish off. You can go for any colour you want, but we chose green for that particular colour. This sort of open vat here full of chemicals. So that's just a modification to the terrain. You don't have to. It comes pre-painted with a finish on it, so you can just unpack it and use it straight away. But when you're sort of settled as to what terrain setups you're going to use it for, then you can think about getting it to match in with your terrain. For example, look, see here, the tone, the effect of the yellow. Try to repeat that on the terrain so the whole thing matches in nicely. So it is quick. You're not really painting much in the way of high detail. It's more effect. That's fast enough. So it comes highly recommended that you do that just to add a bit of realism to your terrain set. Next, for the larger buildings that you can see here, across here, all the grey buildings across the board, that's terrain from madgamingterrain.com. A lot of people ask about this terrain. It features in a good number of our games. I'll put a link for them in the video description below. They have a very, very large variety of laser cut MDF terrains. This is all wood, this terrain here, and all of these. They come on sheets, pre-cut with laser technology, and then you just cut them out, stick them together, and then you build them up to the buildings that you see here. The great thing about the Mad Gaming terrain is the versatility and the variety that you can get. These are all layered here. So the layer comes off like so. Walkways come with, if I just break this down to show you, the walkway here. It's actually got slots for magnetising, so they give you slots here. So we've magnetised the ends of these. We've magnetised the ends of the walkways where the joins are. And it means that the walkways will stick to that like so, whichever way you want to configure them. We build them so that the roofs come off, so that you can double stack, for example. So if you want variety for terrain, then the Mad Gaming Terrain is excellent for that. So I'm going to slot that back in, put that back in there, like so. And for games of 40k, we really like it when you're able to add a second or third level to a game. So you've got troops fighting on top, whilst fighting going on below. Just adds a brilliant dimension to the battle. So this is mostly like the Hab Lock Range, this is called, but they do other stuff. Some of the terrain setups, if you go on their Instagram page, they'll show you some of the huge dioramas and possibilities that they do. So tons of variety available with these. This is one of the sets that they do as well. We've sort of combined two together to make that one. But as I said, everything's removable, so you can stack these as high as you want to go, and so on. So check them out. I'll put a link for Mad Gaming Terrain in the video description below, so you can have a look at their website and see the wide variety they do. We'll go around the other side of the board and you can see some of the other buildings that they have. So this setup here, particularly cool. Double large hab lock, a small hab lock on top, two walkways in between, magnetised, and then magnetised stairs running all the way up to the top with a little foot piece there at the bottom. So great combinations you can go for, and a smaller version across the other side. So I'll do a walkthrough here, how to paint this up. It's very, very quick. Again, we painted this up here at the club at SSWG. Didn't take too long. So first colour is looking to get a darker grey tone. So I used the Stealth spray by Montana Gold. It's the Montana Gold range. I'll put a link for that in the video description below. We're spraying, let's take the smaller building here for example. So you'd spray that from underneath, like so, and the idea is you're catching all the shaded areas, so like under here with that darker grey, and spray into all the corners, to the dark recesses, spray that, so just straight onto the wood. And then after that, then spraying a medium tone grey, which would be a uniform grey from Army Painter. Brilliant spray. And you're just spraying, instead of coming up or directly across, you're coming down, just to catch the highlight here. So spraying down in that direction, down across here into the middle, and that'll give you your two tones of grey, so your shading and then your mid-tone done just with spray cans. After that, taking a lighter grey, like Administratum Grey by Games Workshop or something equivalent. Have to use Games Workshop paints, you might need a larger amount of paint. You can easily mix up black and white, just looking for a light grey, a large dry brush, flick it across the whole model just to catch all the edges nicely, just to catch those edges, just to make it pop a bit more on the battlefield. So once all that basic painting's done, next is effect. So taking Agrax Earth Shader, I think it's Seraphim Sepia in this situation, and a decent enough brush, a larger one, then just making these rust effects here, running underneath, dragging the brush down just to make this rusty kind of finish. Easily done, won't take you too long, and it just creates, it really blotched it on here in this corner, just to make a nice rusty effect. Just there. It's not too much work, you're not really painting loads, it's more, again, it's effect you're going for, so nice quick finish. Then for the stencils that you can see these walkways, these yellow safety edges, walkways across here, these numbers, they're all stencils, just by using white spray can, and then just putting the stencils on top. So I got those from eBay. The stencils actually come as MDF sheets. You pick which stencil you want, placing it on top. They come as small pieces, and then to stop the white spray from going onto other areas, just masking tape around the area around here to stop the white spray from going on what you've painted, and then just spraying through to give you the markings that you need. Numbers as well, done using the same process. Now I think what I'll do is try and put some links in the video description below to give you some examples of those stencils. I got mine from eBay, so you should be able to track them down easily enough. And it was a couple of sets of stencils, didn't cost very much at all, and I've been able to use that whole set around the entire terrain setup. Done it here on numbers on the sides of the buildings, but these just add a nice bit of realism here and just break up that solid colour just by adding those stencil effects. Come with words like caution and a yellow marking boundary around there, just randomly placed, just adding a bit of realism to your terrain. All right, James is here. He's saying this brown is called what? Vallejo brown wash. Is it a larger tub, is it?
It's a large tub you can get from, I think it's Game Colour. So,
right.
It's Vallejo series. It's very, very useful. It'll save cost as well. It's
the
same effect.
Instead of buying loads of little pots of Seraphim Sepia and so on. Okay, right. What I'll do is check out the links. And if I track that down, I will link that for you in the video description. And you should also see in the comment section the links there. But that'll be the wash that you can use. You can make up your own, or you can get a hold of a wash like that from different places. But it's sort of a general rust kind of colour has been used to weather all of the terrain that you see. So once you have that done, that's your main buildings. They're providing some brilliant line of sight blocking terrain, really, really good. And then your nice accessories here. We've added in some Munitorum armoured containers just to bolster the set here from GameMat.eu. These ones sprayed up in white. Same kind of brown effect on those, just to tone them in, but just linking that all together to create more terrain for units to hide behind on the battlefield. That'll fill out your table nicely for you. Then to finish off, you've got accessories and the little stones and scatter. So you see the little stones and scatter that we've used. I've talked about that previously in another video, but I'm just took my stones that I collected from the sand, or I collected them at the beach, and then sprayed them up with the same dark grey and mid-grey colours that you use to spray the buildings. Your stones are definitely going to match in with the building set that you have. So to put them in a tray, give them a spray of the darker Stealth Grey by Montana Gold, give them a shake, and then go for the mid-grey over the top, just sort of spraying, glinting across with the grey spray with the Uniform Grey from Army Painter, and again giving it a shake and just keep going until you've got most of those stones covered in the grey. And then after that you can flick wash onto them, or you can just give them a quick light spray of Leather Brown by Army Painter. I'll link that in the video description below, but that just adds a little bit of rust colour onto your stones, again to match in with the terrain that you're running. So if the stone's not too neat, they're great for blending things in. We've blended in this little diorama here, putting stones all around the edges. We just tuck them into little corners. Not too neat, but it just blends the terrain in with the battle mats, so everything looks like it belongs on the battlefield. Then there's a few other bits going on. Some tank traps here, obstacles from the 40K terrain set. These are AdMech pieces from Games Workshop, just dotted about, just creating little dioramas on the battlefield, just making it feel like a real 40K war zone. Little flak guns added on top of these buildings. Just love that effect. Love little details. Take your spare weapons, whatever faction it's from. These are las guns from James's Astra Munitorum. Spray them silver, put the washes over the top, and then just scatter them around the board. What's that, a las carbine?
That's a las carbine from the Steel Legion, and that one there is a Katachan las gun.
Katachan.
Katachan.
Alright.
Because a different mark.
Right.
I know my Astra Munitorum.
Please. Add backpack and accessories from the Astra Munitorum Tanks kit, Chimera.
Yes.
Voxcaster. Spare pieces, you're going to have bits like that. There's a few bolters dotted about. That is a shell from the Vindicator. Space Marines.
Yeah.
Jerry can, fuel, Astra Munitorum missile launcher. Just leave them abandoned in the streets like a real war zone. Weapons abandoned all over the place. And once you've got them painted, you can keep a little bag of them or mix them in with your stones. And every game you play, you're going to have, again, you're trying to make the table look like it belongs in the 40K universe. And small touches like that.
And in real warfare, they would leave
dumped stuff. Yeah.
In ancient warfare, especially, find swords and shields and that.
Yeah, yeah. Dumped weapons is a mark of a war zone. So that's what you're replicating on the board. One final thing is a diorama. It's an old kit that's been used, painted up. Battle damage on it, it's the abandoned vehicle, stones to blend the whole thing in, and you've got a nice 40K feature on the board, and that really makes the table look like a 40K war zone. So things like that, well worth doing. It's going to see a lot of use in our different games, and it's removable, so you could put that in a jungle scenario, in the desert, wherever, and then because you've got your stones and scatter, you can then make it blend in to whatever surroundings it finds itself in. So that's pretty much it for this video. So battle mat is your foundation, two main areas of terrain, the Chem-Zone Set here from GameMat.eu, mixed in with these nice solid structured buildings from Mad Gaming Terrain. All the great buildings that you see are from them. I'll put a link for them in the video description below. Plenty of variety. You could use this terrain and create a completely different battlefield every time. The buildings are stackable, the walkways you can add in, the stairs to add, layers to build up, and then all these pieces of terrain very movable around the board as well. So tons of variety available here with this terrain setup. And then finally, to finish off, your accessories, which just really finish the table off nicely and just add that hyper realism to the battlefield. But that's the video. Check out the other videos in our series. There's plenty of variety now in this series so far on the channel. If you go to the homepage, scroll down, go to terrain and painting tutorials, and you'll see a nice variety of battlefields available. And the idea is to inspire you and to equip you as you set up your own games of 40k. So that's the video. Keep a lookout for more videos in this series, and what we'll do, as per usual, we will finish with some music and some panning and some close-ups of this setup on the board. Thanks for watching, and tune in next time.